Hi, we're Ellie and David. Join us as we overland the Americas in Yak, our Land Rover Defender.
Yak's already taken us across Europe and Central Asia, but this expedition will be our biggest challenge yet.
We're overlanding from the southern tip of Argentina all the way to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. Follow along as we experience all the extremes and beauty of a simple life on the road in our Pan-American adventure. When we got back from Peninsula Valdez, we dropped Yak off at the windscreen repair place, and within the same day, Yak was back in one piece.
We're going to miss our St. Vincent sticker.
Dulce de leche, pastelera.
Gracias.
No hay de qué. Disfruten. Pastelería argentina, lo más rico del mundo.
Is it good?
Oh, so good.
The windscreen's all sorted and we're back on the road. We're continuing down to Ushuaia, but first we're stopping off in a town that's got some interesting and slightly unusual history. You might know what I'm talking about. In 1865, a group of Welsh settlers migrated to Argentina in order to protect their culture and language, which they felt were being threatened back home. The settlers found their new home in the Chubut Valley, described to them as a fertile and prosperous land. On arrival, they found out this very much wasn't the case, but managed to build a network of successful irrigation systems and cultivate the land, while indigenous people taught them how to hunt, which meant they were able to sustain the town's inhabitants and survive in a pretty and hospitable environment. Today you can still see the impact of irrigation, as Guyman sticks out as a green oasis against the surrounding arid landscape. Today you can get a taste of Welsh heritage at one of the Casas de Te, which are decorated in old photos and Welsh posters. It was so bizarre for us suddenly being in quite familiar surroundings, especially in this very British-looking country garden, after driving through nothing but bleak pampas for days. It may have even made me feel a bit homesick for a moment. We were going to get some tea, but the only option is to get like the full high tea, which apparently is massive. And we've just had lunch, so we're really full. So we've given it a miss, but we've got Earl Grey back at the Land Rover, so I'll just make some later. Oh, it was so nice having a slightly more wild space to camp in last night. I hadn't realised quite how much it was getting to be being in petrol stations every night. It just feels a bit grim. But yeah, we're just so excited to get down south and hopefully have more spots like this.
We did have the military police turn up after about half an hour, kind of asking for our passports and where we're from. They did say this was private property, but they said we could sleep here for a night, no problem. Gonna make some coffee, have some breakfast, try and wake up a bit and hit the road.
We're hoping to get about 600 miles done today, which should take us quite close to the Chilean border. I think we'll only be in the country for about an hour or so, but yeah, something a little bit different after quite a monotonous drive. After leaving Guyman, we began the 1,000-mile journey south to Ushuaia, the end of the world. The journey took us along Route 3, famed for being one of the most boring roads in the world. We found the vastness of it quite impressive though. We ploughed through flat pampas with nothing but miles and miles of straight road and the occasional guanaco to point at. After 2 days of driving, the landscape began to change, and we were so excited when we spotted the first mountains in the distance.
What you got going on here, Ellie?
We're at the Chilean border, and we declared all the fruit and veg we had. We thought that was fine, we told the lady, but we didn't realise that you're not actually allowed to take anything through if it's fresh. So she said you can either bin it here or you can cook it up. So I'm at the Chilean border making a bolognese.
I don't know what the point of declaring it was if we're not actually allowed to take it through.
I'm not sure. Yeah. This is a first.
We're in Chile, one of the more bizarre border crossings.
I presented them with a lovely bowl of meat.
We're only here for 2 or 3 hours before we cross back into Argentina.
And we're back in Argentina. Had a very easy border crossing, took about 20 minutes if that. And in about 3.5 hours we'll be in Ushuaia, which is very exciting.
Really excited to have made it here. The drive as we came in, kind of the final hour and a half, was just unbelievable. We've obviously been in a very flat step for the last week and a half really. The mountains just blew us away. There's an off-road track north of here, about an hour north by a lake, that we're really excited to do. We were looking as well at doing Tierra del Fuego National Park, because in there you kind of get to the end of the Pan American Highway. We wanted to kind of see the sign, the end of the road, and it says how long it is to Alaska, but to get in, it's now gone up to 40,000 pesos, which is about £30 each. There are some hikes and trails you can do in the national park, but the weather's not great for them, and a lot of them are closed. And so we're just kind of deliberating. I just don't think we're willing to pay £30 each, because we are on a fairly tight budget just to kind of see this sign, but we really wanted to see it. So we're probably not going to do it, which is a shame, but I just don't think it's worth the money.
We came to the national park entrance because we thought, it might be worth trying to see if we can get in, just to see the sign. So we just parked up, and David went and spoke to the guy on the gate and basically explained that. And amazingly, the guy said we could come in for free, which we really weren't expecting, were we? So yeah, it just shows that it's always worth trying.
Alaska, here we come. Just realised that from now on it's all just heading north, pretty much for the next year.
This is where we camped last night, next to this meadow. Amazing view of the mountains, and we're just tucked behind those trees there.
We're not in a petrol station.
We're going to head to the supermarket now and stock up on a few bits. We've got a few tracks lined up for the next few days. We're just going to try and get off the beaten track a little bit and explore the area.
We are beyond excited to do this. The backdrop is just unbelievable. I think the track's about 7 kilometers long. It's not too bad. Some of it goes into the lake as it winds around, like tree roots and stuff like that. And then there's a kind of water crossing right at the end. just going to go and check the depth and see what it's like. And I've also not showered in a couple of days, so sort of buy one get one free. The crossing's absolutely fine, but it's just always worth checking. We've done a couple of river crossings back home that are a lot worse than that, so very confident that we'll be all right. Not a bad kitchen, is it, Ellie?
I've had worse views. We've just parked up for the night to camp, and we turned the diesel heater on, and it was making a really weird kind of bubbly noise, and I thought, I bet that's something to do with the lake crossing. So David's just drilled a hole somewhere. What have you done?
There's a plastic air intake pipe that goes up into the diesel heater. Drilled a hole in it, load of water came out. Hopefully it's not sucked up any water into the combustion chamber.
Is it sounding normal?
Yeah, I don't think it's trying to suck up any water anymore, so I think we're all good.
Yak's actually starting to look like a work of art at this point, because we've got so many different shades of mud. All the reddy mud is from the north, from the jungle tracks we did there, and then we got this kind of pale grey stuff from the past couple of days.
Yak was already a work of art. Come to a little town called Porvenir, and we're going to get the ferry across to Punta Arenas later. We have come to a bakery that does the most enormous pastries ever.
Everything is giant. Look at the alfajor, it's the size of my face.
We've made our way to Puerto Natales, which is a town just outside Torres del Paine National Park. We're potentially going to go in or kind of go and do a few roads towards it tomorrow. We're still deciding if we're actually going to go into the national park, because it's £50 altogether, and I think it's raining over the next kind of week and a half. It looks as though the rules have changed over the last couple of months as well, and you can only wild camp in sort of 2 designated areas within the national park, which would mean we'd end up starting our hike later than we'd want. You know, ideally want to start at kind of like 7 a.m. to beat the rush, because apparently after that point the trail's just, it's got hundreds or thousands of people on it, which would mean it's a lot busier than we'd really want. So we'll take a bit of time tomorrow to reassess, have a look at the weather. Yak needs an oil change anyway, and we'll have a think about whether we want to do it, and if it's going to be kind of too busy or the weather's just not going to be great. And then if not, we'll head towards Ep.5 where there's a hike up to Fitzroy. The weather looks a lot better there anyway, so we'll figure it out tomorrow and then go from there. But we have heard that there are really, really strong winds here. There's a particular spot within the national park that's really quite dangerous, and we had a little look on iOverlander, and it's kind of camper vans getting turned over, getting windscreens just smashing just from the strength of the gusts of the wind. It is slightly windy, but it's saying on here that the winds were measuring up to kind of 100 mile an hour, so we've parked into the wind, we'll be fine here.
We decided not to do the hike in Torres del Paine in the end. The weather was meant to be really rubbish for about 4 days, and I was feeling a bit rough as well, just a bit under the weather. It was just a cold, but yeah, just wasn't really feeling up to it. So we've moved on and we're at Ep.5 now.
And we're very excited because tomorrow we're going to be doing a hike that takes us up to a pretty cool viewpoint of Cerro Fitzroy. About a 15-mile round trip, so quite a big one, but we're really looking forward to it. We've spent the last couple of days just kind of chilling before we do this. We've kind of done some of our laundry, and very shortly Ellie's going to sort my hair out. We're going to get a nice early night because we're waking up at 5, and we just need to make sure we've got everything ready tonight, like water and sandwiches and stuff like that. Very, very excited.
Morning.
Morning. It's 10 to 5. The alarm was supposed to go off in 10 minutes time, but neither of us have really slept. We're both pretty excited to do the hike, so I just thought, let's get up, get on with it. Let's go. So we're doing the route up to Laguna de los Tres. About 11 kilometres I think up. There's a section up here which is a bit steeper, section up here which is a bit steeper. So maybe 4 hours to the top.
Steep one.
Just had our first glimpse of Cerro Fitzroy just poking his head out just up there.
We've made it to Laguna Capri. So beautiful, really quiet as well.
I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but there is a glacier way off in the distance.
The air suddenly got a lot cooler in this bit. I'm guessing it's because it's all coming down off the glacier.
Pretty glad we've just gone past that sign, because after I think it was 3 or 4 kilometres we just didn't see a sign. I was thinking surely we're over halfway now. So 4 more kilometres to the top. I think the next 2 kilometres are flatter and then it'll get a bit steeper, so Ellie will be off on the next couple of kilometres and then I'll catch up the hill.
So according to that sign, we've got 1 kilometre left, but we're climbing the same elevation that we've just climbed in the last 9 kilometres.
Just came around what we thought was the last hill on the last corner to find this last little climb. But I think once we get to the top of that ridge line, we'll be at the lagoon and have our sandwiches. And we made it. How was that, Ellie? Just heard a noise, kind of like thunder, and looked up and that little snow cap just up there, parts of it were falling away and then a big chunk fell down. Just a huge noise just echoing around. Really, really cool.
A sandwich has never tasted this good.
Nice little lunch break before we head back off again. I'm going to go and have a little dip. Joining me, Ellie?
I don't think I fancy the scramble down there. How's that?
It was lovely. After a much needed lunch stop and a little swim, we are making our way back down. And we made it. 14.7 kilometres logged on the Garmin. It was full on. The last climb up to the summit was intense. It was very steep for a long time. And then actually coming down it was quite hard as well.
The best part is I made double portions of bolognese last night.
We love past Ellie. Oh.